Okay, so it's 4. And last time it was so much better. I really, I think that either she's feeling better or this bad thing that I've created is better. And so, anyways, last night was pretty good. We still get up all the time, but it's longer periods of time. I don't know if that's somebody who's whistling while they snore. Sometimes I hear things and it's like I can't tell if it's them or if it's coming from somewhere else, but that's somebody snoring, I think. Um, but I'm going to talk about the kitchen cabinets first, or the kitchen counters first, because I didn't even know. Like I've only done epoxy one time when I was watching videos and stuff. You know, you don't know all the problems you're going to run into. So, like the people just show their art projects and stuff, and it's like, oh, you just pour it on there and stuff. So when I did the one outside, because I had done this mosaic tile thing, and then I was like, man, what are you supposed to do on top of it? I had no idea. And it wasn't all flat. I had different tiles and stuff like that. And my daughter had said to put epoxy on it. And so I didn't even know what epoxy was. I was thinking it was just varnish or polyurethane. So I put that over it. And then that started peeling off. And my daughter and somebody else said, you got to put epoxy. And so I was like, epoxy. So I went and looked up epoxy. And that's where you start seeing all these epoxy pores and all that stuff. And so I was like, oh, so you just do that, and you pour it on. It makes this hard, like, shell over the top. And so I ordered some and did it, and it was like, oh, man, I need way more. And so I had to order more, and then I still needed more. I had to order more, still needed more. Same thing that happened in here. And it does not go as far as you think. Like, you think it's going to go far, it doesn't. And I swear to God, these little bottles are probably for one little tiny thing. And so when I did that one outside, not only could I put it on top of the other epoxy in it, you couldn't tell, but you couldn't tell on a lot of the stuff. Oh yeah, but I put the glitter in there. So I got glitter because I wanted to cover up, because some of the places I couldn't get the old polyurethane off, and it kind of made like a rusty like stain kind of thing. So I was trying to scrape it off. I couldn't get it off. So I decided to put glitter around on the top, and then I put too much glitter. No matter what, it's always a learning thing. And so, so then I put so much glitter that it like hides some of my mosaic thing, but it's like, okay, whatever. And, you just can't let that stuff get you down. You can't sit there and think like, oh, well, I'm not good at it. You're not supposed to be good at it right when you first start learning how to do it. But you got to be willing to go in and learn how to do something. And I think so many people hold themselves back. And this is a time where you're supposed to be trying to find yourself. And I think it's important to try things and, you know, take chances and risks and stuff. Put yourself out there. And so, you know, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but to me, it was like, you know, I mean, fuck, what this table was and what it is now is in all the stuff I learned and how much I liked it. So even if it's not perfect, even if it's not like perfect quality, has lots of issues or whatever, to me, it still is like, fuck, that's my first project right there, my first mosaic project. And it's pretty big. And a lot of people don't even take on a little thing like that. So I'm going to be proud of myself, not beat myself up because it's not perfect. You know what I mean? And so then going into the kitchen counters. So I don't know if it's the being indoors is so different. I don't know, because it's so much of the stuff is the same. So on the kitchen counters, I painted the undercoat. And the undercoat says, you know, you could just do it. And it has kind of shell or something. I don't know. But I was like, no way am I risking that, because of the counters before. I had painted them when I had moved in because they were really old, dingy yellow. And so I got a kit and I painted them in the kit. You just made like this design and it made it look like real countertops. And I was like, so I was all impressed with that. Like, I was like, fuck yeah. And I really liked that. And so I liked it the whole time I had it. I thought it was cool. I was proud of it. I thought it was really good. And then I had lots of compliments on it. Like, it really looked like a countertop. And I had painted it. It looked like a real thing. And So then like a design, and you're wondering like, what do you mean painting it? You know, like when you see countertops and they've got like a bunch of different colors. And so it was like that. And so it was just this like color kind of pattern things and swirls and stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but it just looked natural. And so anyways, it looked good. And lots of people were like, you painted that? And then lots of people come over. There's only a few people that come over. Um, but let me think, what was the other thing I was about to say? So, okay, so then when I had been living with those countertops, though, with that kit that I did, and I did a whole bunch of the top coat, but there were still parts that, places that got water all the time, rubbed off, and so the countertops started showing through, like around the sink and stuff, and so I was already thinking, I had to do something, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do if I was going to just try and do the same thing. And so, because I wasn't even thinking about painting my kitchen cabinets or anything, it was all because when I did the bathroom, I just liked that color so much. And then I just was like, fuck, I look good in the kitchen. And so then once I had done that, then I started looking at the counters. And I don't know, I just get these visions in my head, and I always go with them. And they're always putting visions in my head of all sorts of things. Like it can be something, this happens all the time. It'd be, oh man, it happens like all the time about everything in a lot of different ways. Because sometimes it'll just pop in my head and they'll show me how to do something. And it's like something I have no idea how to do. And they'll show me how to do it. And it's always like, oh, okay. And then sometimes it will be, they always do the show me how to do it, but it's like in different ways that the approach is. And so sometimes it's like I'm asking, sometimes it just comes in even before the thing. It's just always different, but there's always a thing that they'll show me something. They'll show me, and it's like visions or something. I just can see like I'm looking at the thing instead of looking at what I'm seeing. I see something different. And so, but it's in my mind. But when you see things in your mind, our whole world is really in our mind. So it's, I don't know. It's weird. Unless, like, I mean, the people who just shift with their vision in and out, that, it's not that weird. But to people who don't know how to do it or haven't developed that or have problems, because I think anything any of us can do, we can all do. That's the way I look at it. And it's just like some people, I just think, haven't developed that part of themselves or something. Why they can't, because some people, like, they say they have no inner dialogue. How can you have just emptiness in your mind? Like, just emptiness. There's always like a fucking goddamn party in mine. Like, what? And I'm shown things all the time I don't know. It's not like I know, oh, I knew this. I saw this videotape when I was 5 years old. Now I remember it. No, it's like weird stuff, weird stuff. And so, then somebody would think like, well, why wouldn't they tell you how to fix everything then so that nothing would ever go wrong? Because, like I've said a zillion times, is you're supposed to have things go wrong. That's how you learn and grow. And if they stopped everything from going wrong, you would be not growing. Your soul would be pissed. And like, well, you wouldn't be able to go and be pissed. But yeah, you just can't do it. They just can't do that. But there's things that are like, either you're learning about your communication, your development, they're teaching you things, whatever. There's lots of things they can tell you and show you. And to me, I've built a trust and stuff with them and an understanding. And like, I go to them and ask them, like, when something's going wrong, like, well, what do I do? And sometimes it is like, you learn like what I'm about to talk about. And so these ones, so I decided I was going to do the counters black, and then I was going to paint big flowers, like on my front door, because my front door, I painted it black and I painted these big flowers on it. And, and I kept seeing the door. Maybe it's because my son-in-law was going in and out or something. And I was like, God, that would look cool on the counters. Wonder if I could just do that, the same thing on the counters. And the flowers are different, but that's what I was looking at. That was my motivation. And so I have all my paints and stuff. And so I ordered a can of the base coat paint, whatever. And so I ordered that. I put some bunch of coats on there and got it all black. And then I was like, man, I really like it. It looks really cool. It looked kind of like suede or something. It was, or leather, like slick. It was really cool looking. And then I was like, ah, man, should I just leave it? Maybe I should just leave it. It looks really cool. And it kind of gives it like a contemporary kind of look with the, as I took off the knobs and stuff. Even though, like, even on the knobs and stuff, when I took off the knobs, this is something, because I keep going to this in my mind, because I'll see the little blemishes on the cabinet. And I think about some of these people, like I see that do this work, and I've been married to them. And, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be sanded. It's going to be put this on. I'm going to sand some more. Then I'm going to put this on. Then we're going to shake it all and get it fucking perfect. And I'm not like that. And, but those little blemishes is like a reminder. And then I think, it could be like that. If I wanted to go in and do that, I could have done that. I could have taken it off and made it this huge project to try and make these perfect cabinets where it's got, other issues. Like these cabinets are like 30 years old. And, so, I mean, they are like a shell. The back of the cabinet is the wall. It's not, there's not a cabinet. It's like they put a frame and then they put some shelves and then they just got some doors and hinges and put them up. And so it's like, how perfect am I going to make this? Because really, they should have real cabinets. So it's kind of almost like a facade, but it works. I mean, it's like real cabinets. It just doesn't have all like the fancy stuff, like where you have a back, like you have a whole shell, a whole cabinet, and you can attach it like that. So anyways, it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, well, I could make them perfect. I could take them off. I could sand them down. I could do all that shit. I feel like I'm doing good just cleaning them. So, and, so then and I don't even know how clean they really are. Really. I mean, I'm sure there's people who are really into cleaning. It would be way cleaner. Like definitely anything I do, I'm not going to be way over here in the trying to be perfect. Or I'm going to put, I'm going to do it and enjoy it more kind of thing. And so once I paint them, but anyways, the blemishes on there have made me think about that a lot, where that's been on my mind, and thinking, well, I like to do things more in a timely fashion. I like to move quicker. Like I said, like I feel like I'm a hummingbird in life. And so I don't know, when you're trying to do your projects and stuff, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to compare yourself to the best of all these things and stuff. You got to go kind of, the approach of life is it's for fun. I mean, this is not even real. Like, you got to have some fun and experience yourself. And so then I decided, okay, I'm going to go do the flowers. So I get on my paint, I paint the flowers, and then I got super overwhelmed. And, oh man, I was overwhelmed. And then I was like, I swear to God, I have no idea how to paint. I don't remember how to paint. I don't know what I'm doing. Then it started fucking with my head, and I started seeing this guy's painting tutorial that I had been watching. Because it comes on and he just puts these little swash, 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 and all of a sudden it's a picture. And his TikToks has run across my thing a couple times. It's like 60 seconds or 90. I don't know. It's not super long, but it is, I don't know, that just kept coming into my mind. And I was like, and I knew, just keep going, just keep layering until you get to the finishing details. And it's going to look like a picture. It's going to look like a flower. You'll be fine. And you know what you're doing. You've fucking been painting for a long time. And so but I was feeling really weird, like the energy and stuff. And I keep having this energy that's super like, it feels like what I think is like super anxious, but it's not my anxiousness. It's not my anxiety. So it feels like a lot of excitement. It feels super exciting, but it's kind of so exciting. It's overwhelming. So it's like, goes back to anxious again. But then it's like, but it's not mine. But then it's like, whose is it? Some of this stuff too that I'll get. And I'm like, who is feeling this? Like, who's feeling like this? Because it's not me. Um, so anyways, get done with the flowers, which it took me way longer. Like I go into the project, this is another thing too. Go into a project, think, oh, I'll be done with it this afternoon. Because some of them I was having that. I couldn't believe it. I'd start something and I think, oh, it's gonna take so long. And I'd be done and I'd be like, oh my God, it took 15 minutes with the book. So I kind of got on that roll, I guess, where I'm like, you're thinking that it is not going to take that long. And so I start doing it and it starts going longer and longer and longer. And I'm super overwhelmed. And I feel like I'm like just putting on dark light, dark light, dark light. Like, what the fuck am I doing? And I had to keep talking myself down, which that was like stressing me out. It was like, oh my God, this is so, it was exhausting. And so I get to the point where I finish the things um, and I loved them, and it took so long to get the colors just the way I wanted. Like, that is one thing too. It took a long time, and I had the colors where I just really, really liked it. And it was kind of looked like antique-y. And instead of like just, I don't know how to explain it. Just, well, I think that I got a video of it, but the color was, I really liked the color. And then I put the varnish on, and everything looked good. And I thought, well, I could just leave it like this, because I feel like there's going to be some weird shit with the epoxy. Like that just kept being on my mind and being on my mind. And, but I was like, but that's what's going to protect it. Because I already know, like, I put this much top coat on it the last time and it doesn't, it rubs off or something. It doesn't stay. And so, like, I guess maybe because you just use your kitchen counters so much, you know, and it just wears down. And you had to put like a really thick coating. And I kept thinking about that epoxy and how that made like this whole thick coating across the top of the thing. It's like a plastic shell over it that's see-through. And so I kept thinking that is the smartest thing, no matter what. Even if it does some weird stuff, like I'm having this conversation going back and forth, even if it does some weird stuff, that's still the best thing, because it's going to protect it, because otherwise it's going to rub off and it's not going to stay on. And then, and I really, really like them, and I really want them to stay on. And so then I keep having that same thing where it's like, I'm telling you, the inner, it feels weird. Feels like, I don't know, it does feel like a spaceman without a space cap on. So then which like I knew what that would feel like. So then so I get the epoxy, put it on, and I think, well, I'll just try spreading it. If I can spread it and then have it just dry in a coating like that, that didn't fucking work at all. It just went out and went into all these little like puckers, and it goes into its own leveling. So what it does is it brings everything to a level, but you have to put a lot. That's what I'm saying, to get it all level, because you just don't realize, like, fuck, I would have thought the kitchen, I kept looking at them and I kept thinking they look level. And then they even have this little lip. So that should be perfect to get it on there. And then it shouldn't go over that lip and get it all of that surface. And so I was thinking, but I don't know if that would take a gallon or something to do. So I put on the first and tried to spread it and stuff. That didn't work at all. And then I started doing all these puckers, and all of the place that the epoxy went on, it changed one of the colors into like a yellow. And then I was like, oh, fuck, man. But what's done is done. You know, it's already going. Like, what are you going to do then? You're going to have a little baby fit. You're going to try and scrape but now all this epoxy off. And because I would say probably the next thing that would have to be is that the countertops would just have to be removed and put in new ones. But that would be like, you know, replacing the kitchen cabinets and all that. But right now I like it a lot the way it is. So I want to keep it the way it is. And it's not going to be perfect, but when I moved in, it was fucking way worse than not perfect. It was bad. And this is way of an upgrade. But if I want to compare myself to like some great epoxy artist or something, then it's like, and you're learning stuff the whole time. So I have no idea what the bubble thing, because it made all these little bubble thing. Then I thought when I poured it back in more, that it would um, fill in all these little craters and stuff, but it made more of these things. So it gives the, it still look to me, when I look at it, it reminds me of these countertops from the 70s. This, I don't know, I can just see it, but it reminds me of that. And it, to me, it looks like I sent in like prints or something and had them put into a countertop. And so I think it looks cool, but I can definitely see all the things that I see wrong with it. But I'm not going to let that get me down. I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm not going to let it be like, oh, this sucks. Well, I'll do the video today of both of these rooms. The only thing I have left now to do is sealing this ceiling coating stuff in the bathtub. But the and putting all the stuff back in the kitchen, which I'll put in a little while. It's a pretty hard shell already, and it's been 12 hours, I think. Yeah, I think it's like 12 hours. And I was going to try and wait 24, but it's pretty hard. And so I don't know, in a while or something, I'll put it back on. So sometime this afternoon or whatever, I get real excited. Like, I do things like before I should sometimes. So I bet once I get this stuff put back, then I'll do the videos to show you guys. But the, and I would do one to go up close and show the stuff, but I don't have all that editing and stuff. So I just got to do like basic stuff, basic, easy kind of stuff. I'm not the tech savvy editing and sitting with my computer. This is it. This is all I got. And these fucking light rings I have to replace all the time. Then, so it kind of has that yellowish kind of thing. It kind of has these like crater kind of things. That's like this, I don't know, but it kind of is, I love it. Even though that there's things that I wish that would have been perfect, you know, and then, but I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to feed into that, because as you approach something like that, you can go in different directions. And the direction I choose is to learn from it, to feel proud of myself. I tried something, I did something, I really like it. It's not perfect, but every time you do something, you learn, and that makes the things that you do improve. So, you know, somebody just told me on TikTok that there's something you can put in the epoxy that makes it not yellow. See, I didn't know that. But then you do that and somebody tells you. It's like some of the things that you are gonna try, like art projects or some kind of different things, you could go in and look up all the things that can go wrong first and try and learn everything ahead of time. But I don't know, does that take the fun out of life? Because so much of life is learning from the things that you do and the mistakes, and see, then you have conversations with people and all sorts of stuff. And I'm not even sure what the bubbling thing is, but it gives me that feeling of this like 70s vibe, which I don't know. I just like that vibe because it's back from when I was younger. And I feel like, yeah, I mean, this is weird, but I feel like is we're going into like our own timelines or something, like we're choosing like our time of choice or something, that I'm definitely choosing more of the 70s vibe. I definitely am more of that. Oh, and you know what Butterball has done now, or the stores trying to sell the Butterballs had gone down to 25 cents a pound. And there's tons of people who don't even believe that. They don't believe the story. And I think it was off the news. And there's other people saying the story's from 2004, 2006. It's a really old story. And then there's other people saying it is a story that they're promoting in order to try and get people to stop eating meat, which that's going to happen naturally. Like, and there probably is a sense of the universe doing that. And these people all think it's like Gates or something to promote their lab grown meat or whatever. But there is, because you just think about the age of Aquarius, you think about advanced beings, they're not killing other beings to eat. And if you look at other beings that are living their lives and you think that they're below you, you're not at the age of Aquarius time. You're not of that mind. And so there's going to be, that's why I say I think it's going to be more like the Jetsons or something. I swear to God, it's going to be more like we pop a pill and it's full of minerals and stuff. And like the pill you pick, you can be like, oh, I want a cheeseburger and french fry pill. And then you pop it and it gives you this whole feeling of like eating a cheeseburger and french fries. And you have that mental satisfaction or emotional satisfaction, whatever it is that you were getting from it. And you get all the nutrition because it gives you all real minerals and stuff. Because even though we're going to go towards more healthy food and stuff, that is kind of like the steps in the development. That's not where we're going to end up. I really, because I just don't, there's no ethical murdering. And that to me is what the universe is trying to show. Because what I keep getting is like, I fucking know that this shit goes on. It goes on all the time. I fucking heard, I was at, where was I? I was somewhere. I don't know where I was, but I could picture myself right over there by the rec center thing, or maybe at the little farm or something. I don't know, but there was a guy. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was somebody's birthday or something. But there was this guy, and it was a younger guy, and he worked at what is another big farm? Not Draper, not Butterball, but Foster. I think it was Foster Farm. But it was a big farm like that. And so he worked at one out here, which, I mean, I don't even know where the fuck it is. So they just do the animals and then they sell the animals to Foster Farm or something. So this farm he worked at, he said, oh, it's horrible. He was going to quit. He was so disgusted over the things and the cruelty that he would see. He said it was horrible. And I was like, fuck, I'm not even surprised at all. Because think about it. If you're going to go in and you're going to murder all day long, you're going to kill animals all day long, can you sit there and think they have a soul? Can you sit there and think love and stuff towards them? You'd be all tore up. You'd fall apart. You have to distance yourself mentally and emotionally from this animal. So you'd have to look at it as like it's nothing. So I'm not surprised at all at this cruelty. Fucking outrageous cruelty. And I can't even believe that people sit there and think like, oh, that's made up. People aren't doing that. What in the fantasy world are you living in, man? Like, cruelty is being so exposed right now. The cruelty that is inside of people that is out there. Like, I just saw a video that it to me is outrageous. The guy puts his kids to school and they had long hair and he put them to school. And then they came home at some after school program. So it's 4-year-old. So she must be in pre-K or something. I swear to God, they want them in the fucking schools. From the moment they can fucking do anything, they just want them in school so they can start programming them and trying to figure out what their gifts are so they can steal them. And so his little girl had to go to after school program. So her and her sister went to the after school program. So at the after school program was a high school girl who decided she wants to be a hairdresser. And so she decided to take the 4-year-old and cut her hair and cut her bangs and everything. I'm imagining she just has long straight hair. And then, and the dad didn't even know when he picked him up because they had their hats on and stuff. And so when they got home, he said, and then he started noticing she's got bangs and stuff. He's so fucking pissed. And he calls the school. The school's like, that didn't happen here. Then he calls the after school program and they're just like, oh, big deal. It's just hair. My God. And he is so fucking outraged. And I could totally feel his outrage because when my youngest daughter, she was, she had really long, beautiful hair. It was like down to her butt. It was really thick and natural blonde. It was so pretty. And I wanted her to keep her hair. Once she got into junior high and stuff, then she wanted to be like all these emo hairstyles and stuff that were popular, and this bang thing that started over here and went over and then just chopped their hair and stuff. And I was like, just think about it longer. Think about it longer. You know, I was really trying to get her to not do it. And And before, her dad always had a rule to the other girls when they wanted to cut their hair that they had to wait 30 days and think about it because they couldn't cut it emotionally and to try and make themselves feel better. They had to think about if that's really the hairstyle they want, if they really want to cut their hair and all that. So, and I always thought that was a pretty good rule, being a girl who thinks if I cut my hair, I'm going to feel better. I was like, yeah, I should. There was a lot of times I should have taken 30 days and thought about that. But anyways, so, but the rules all changed when he wasn't married to me anymore. And so then she was going over to his and his girlfriend's house. And his girlfriend being my ex-best friend who when she decided she wanted my life that she started talking so much smack on me that it was a whole drama. It was a fucking huge drama. But anyways, so she decides to take my daughter to the hair salon for her first haircut. Because I was a hairdresser, so I always cut my kids' hair too. But they always wanted to go to the hairdresser and stuff. Or where they wanted a big change and then I had control and dad was like, you got to think about it 30 days. And they were all pissed off, like, oh, fuck you guys. I'll go cut it myself and stuff. And it was like, so there was like a big thing over them. Like, mom cuts her hair, dad won't let him get it cut. So they were always being stuck. But till we got divorced. Then, so she decides to take her and go get her hair cut. And I can't even tell you how fucking pissed I was. And nobody would get it. Nobody would get it. But it felt like somebody just walked right over, like, fuck you, snub you, fuck off. And just total disrespect. I couldn't even fucking believe it. You're going to take somebody's kid for their first haircut and go chop all their, you fucking motherfucker. Damn. And then you do get the, like I'm being outrageous. And I totally could get where that guy was coming from. It's like, no, it's some fucking bullshit, man. It's fucking bullshit, man. So, anyways, but there was there's more things. We'll just keep on gliding through. Okay, so this, I couldn't even believe this. So, whatever I was doing, I was working stuff around the house. In the morning, I watched the Roddy McDowell movie. It was funny. It was like it wasn't a very serious one. It was like a quirky kind of horror movie. Stella Stevens was the slut, I guess, and she she married a dead guy to get his money, but Roddy McDowell was the brother. It was pretty funny because you just would have to see it. It's just 70s humor, and or horror movie. So, but I love Roddy McDowell, and so then I was thinking some more movies like that would start. But it didn't. I think it went into some black and white movies, but I think I switched off because I was not in the mood for whatever was coming on. And then I switched off and whatever movie was sitting there. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll try that one then. Because it was a new one from, I don't know, one of the places, one of the movie things that I follow on here. Can't remember which one, but it popped up that they had put this new movie, and so I decided to watch it. It had Jeff Fahey. Let me think if I can think of somebody else that was in it. There was some more people in it, but I can't think of who. But so Jeff Fahey is the scientist, this brilliant scientist or something. And I didn't just sit and watch it, so I wasn't paying total attention, but I was listening to it. And I couldn't even fucking believe some of this shit. And so I don't know the whole fucking storyline, but on this certain part, so what they were talking about is something I talk about all the motherfucking time. And so this movie, I think, was like 1996 or something, 94 or something. So whatever he's involved with, it has to do with something with cloning or something. And so the premise in the movie now is that he's woke up and he's the clone. He's not the scientist that he thinks he is. He's got all the memories, but he's not the scientist. he's the clone of the scientist. And I don't remember, I think it goes through different things in the storyline because there's this group he gets involved with that are trying to destroy the labs because the labs are testing on animals and they're letting the animals out. I remember when this kind of stuff was going on too. And so so then he went on this search to try and, I don't know what, then he was trying to find his original self, but maybe he didn't know his original self was dead. This is the part where I wasn't paying enough attention. And so he's searching, he's interacting. There's a lot of this like shootouts and stuff like that because there's all this espionage. Like I've said, the pharmaceutical companies, like the different name brands and stuff, like are kind of like everything's like a pyramid scheme kind of thing. And so there's different levels. At different levels, there's money and power. And so there's the fight for who's got more. And so there's a huge espionage that goes on in between this power play. And we are just we're just the, like, who cares? And so that is what is always going on with these things. It's a huge, like they hire mercenary, like it's big, like it's real big, this part of our world. And it's very corrupt and it's creepy and they're all trying to, I don't know, figure out what the other ones are doing or testing. Like, it's all just creepy fucking shit. Like I mean, that could be like a whole thing where, like, one corporation moves into a town that is associated with this one that is testing this. So they're putting this chemical in this to do this town. Like, it's very convoluted, but it's all the same. And then there's different ones, and they're all fighting for power and stuff. It's like they are on a different level of a game. The game they're playing is not the game we're playing. And so all the games are like soul games and stuff, but they are playing a game on a place that we don't think about. You know, most people don't realize how much espionage is going on around us and how the crime syndicate that's running this whole motherfucking world. So, and that's what it is. It's like crime syndicates. That's so crazy because it gets back to, it's like brother on brother, practically. Brother fighting brother. Like, it's so crazy. So, anyways, these people are all nuts. So, so in this thing, he's trying to find his clone. So in more of the talks with more of the scientists, more of these big corporate money people, because they're right there. And so one point, one of them, he's arguing with, and he wants to attack him or something. And he said, "You can't do shit to me. I'm a hologram. I'm sick at home in bed. And I'm not even standing there." That was 1994, 96. And so, and this is this top mind scientist who's standing there arguing with somebody who doesn't even realize that they're a hologram. And then so that's how advanced our science was. This is what, 20, 25, 30 years ago? Because now it's about to be 25. Like, that is so crazy. I can't even believe it. Like, that is so weird. I swear to God, when I was a kid, 2020, I thought, man, I wonder if I'll still alive in 2020. Dude, you got a long ways to go, I think. So anyways, then, so the hologram thing was introduced. I don't know if this was the introduction to it, but it was definitely letting us know, yeah, there's the hologram people around you. There's people who aren't even real around you. And science is way more advanced than you think. And we all sit there thinking, "Oh, that's a movie." So fucking stupid. So then the next part is, so the guy is sick and he has lured this guy here because he's taking his body. He's taking the clone's body. He's like, you're perfect for me, and we're taking my consciousness out of this body and we're putting it in your body and we're about to strap your ass down and do it. And the guy's like, no, you're not gonna do it. So all that, what have I been saying for how motherfucking long. And they fucking, so they've been doing this shit for at least 25, 30 years, taking people's consciousness and putting things. Probably every motherfucking video game that people watch is somebody's fucking hell that they're stuck in. It's like, God, this world is so motherfucking, yeah, for every soul, it is like, am I gonna get caught? Like a fishnet, man. So I swear to God, we're gonna have to like be opening the computers and the black boxes and stuff and letting souls out. Like it's crazy. Maybe they've been doing that and they're not gonna tell us because that would be too scary, but I'm telling you. So the so then the guy is like arguing with them. There's this whole thing, this whole argument with this science thing about how this guy's taking his consciousness. They've been doing a long time. This is in the 90s. We've been doing a long time. Or whatever. They're way more advanced and they're always telling us. And then whatever it was, he was saying he just changes bodies because he's this body's sick. I've been saying that for so long. Then they said, um, oh yeah, that so one of the PETA girls or whatever, one of the girls that was on the lab, like burning down the labs, she was tall, pretty girl. And so the once he got caught, she was running around with him or whatever, and they got caught. They were constantly in shootouts and stuff. I'm not sure how they all got caught up or whatever, but so they got the girl too. And then he's saying something about the girl, and she goes, "Oh no, no problem. We're just gonna clone her, and then we're gonna sell her to the biggest bidder over in Asia." I was like, "What the fuck?" I told you guys, this is what they've been doing, and they just this market. And it is like shells of people, and I'm telling you, there's something weird about these celebrities all of a sudden coming out and looking like they don't like living dolls. Like that one movie that I saw when it was showing that starlet, and they were just like, she's a living doll. And then when they went really up close on her face, because she had the whole thing about her selling her soul, and then it went really close up on her face, and it was just like a doll. And it was just like the soul trapped in this doll. It was really creepy. Like I swear to God, the best way to live is just living free. Just being free, making mistakes, doing stupid shit, living it and having fun, like meeting people and doing things and discovering yourself through art and music and dance and stuff. And dance, you have to be weird. You have to just let yourself be weird. You have to feel the music. When you feel the music, you just let your body do what it wants to do when you feel the music. And so many people are so cut off from that part of themselves. So many people, and that's the part where I don't know how to tell you what your blockages are, how to find your blockages, why you can't just go in and dance like nobody's watching, just feel the music and just let it take you over. Because a lot of people are blocked from that. But that's a self-discovery in itself, because feeling the music just feels good inside of you. Moving around, it's like your soul comes to life inside of you. And I think that is a big thing about like the ceremony and the power thing. I keep seeing all of these Haka dance things now, all these big things. And I think so much of where the tribes and stuff, like, or the people, the more the I think more of our regular way that we really are by nature, not this way that they've tried to create this weird world that they try to make us be in, but our more regular self, more primitive part of ourselves, the natural part of ourselves has that kind of connection, and it is that kind of power. It's like this power. It's like building your chi up or something. Is look, and then doing it all together. It's like you create like an energetic thing around you. And they've been doing it. I keep seeing these ones at these soccer games. It always shows the other team just standing there, kind of like they always seem kind of intimidated because these guys come out and do their whole fucking. And there's different hakas or whatever. There's different of these ceremonies that they do, or it's not supposed to be called dance because they're not dancing, but it's some kind of ceremonial kind of thing. But those things bring up this energy. It pulls this energy, and that And even this thing, because they do a lot of this, and the girl or somebody was explaining this is the movement of the energy. And so it's like, our base parts of ourselves, we know, we're building our energy. And you'll do that. If you start getting in and dancing and doing that, you'll build your own energy. You'll start feeling your own energy. And you got to build up that energy, not stifle it and hide it because somebody's going to be looking. You got to get out there and make weird faces and feel it, And that is what I think is the primitive or the primate or whatever, the side of ourselves that's natural, that is kind of repressed in people because they don't want to look weird. They don't want to act weird, or they want to be able to look at them. They want to be able to laugh at them. And those are the things you got to get over. You got to get over that because it holds you back. It holds you back from your experience. It holds you back from being able to experience yourself when you're always thinking about what other people think about you. And other people got no problem coming in. Like there was this other person yesterday who came in, and I don't even know. They said they were watching my videos trying to decide if they vibed with me, which is fine. I don't care. You either do or you don't. I'm not trying to force anything. And but whatever. I don't even understand like what they started saying, but they decided after a couple of videos that they had a proper evaluation of me, and they were trying to, inform me something about me. It's like there's over 2,500 videos. And how many did it take for you to decide you knew me well? I bet you that there's people who've watched every motherfucking video I've made, and they still are like, I don't know that they would say, oh, yeah, I know what she's going to do. I know everything that she's going to, you know what I mean? I know how she's motivated. I know what she thinks. I don't know, maybe sometimes I surprise people. Maybe it is. Maybe everybody does feel like that they see right through me. I don't know. It only took that person. I asked them. They haven't answered me yet. How many videos did it take for you to make this, assumption, basically? But anyways, it just is weird. But so many people, everybody's got their judgment waiting to come out at you. They've got you all figured out. And nobody thinks about they've got you figured out on their terms. And their terms may need some, like, why do you even need to figure me out? Like, why is it that you need to come in and, establish me as whatever, good, bad, light, dark, whatever it is? Because, to me, we are all things. We're both things. And we've got a little bit of good and a little bit bad. We're not supposed to be just like perfect. We're not supposed to be perfect for one person, like, so that it is like this perfect person so that this person is someone to hang on to or latch on to or something. No, we're supposed to just be hunters and gatherers, hunting for information, gathering what makes sense to you, putting together your own identity, putting together your own picture, putting together your own understanding. It's not supposed to be where it's just like, oh, my understanding is my understanding. And my understanding is built on a lot of stuff throughout my whole entire life. And so everybody has their own life extending period of understanding of how, and the thing is too, is it's not meant to be. It's not supposed to be like, oh, well, she has a better one. I'm going to go, no, we are all have our own. We're supposed to have unique understandings. We're supposed to have you got to think about, okay, think about this. So the spider, what if the spider has like 8 lenses, but it only sees the same thing? What's the point of having the 8 lenses? So what's the point of having all these souls down here doing the work if we're all supposed to see the same fucking thing? The universe is trying to see through us, and we're supposed to see everything. And they are back here seeing through us to see everything. And we are in here, so we make choices over how many things we want to see. Because we can sit here in judgment and, cut ourselves off and not want to know or understand somebody's perspective and be like, but we can go in, like, to me, listening to that guy talk about his daughter's hair. And it's like, fuck, man, I totally get it. I totally am in alignment with that. I've had that. Somebody walk all over me about that and felt very disrespected. And I don't know, it's just like, I kind of hurt your feelings too. It's like, it was supposed to be like my daughter and my special moment, not you and my daughter. Like, so anyways, the but we all have our own perspectives, and I think that that is when that gives us the not feeling judgmental towards somebody. 'Cause there's so many people, like, I can see them go through certain things, and I don't feel like, well, they're a bad person. They're a bad person because 'cause they're going through that, or they are made those choices or whatever. It's like, no, it's like, I don't know. There's so I know I'll say it from the other direction because I just see so much judgment. So many people judging other people. And I think, uh, how do you know you wouldn't do the same thing? How do you know what you would do in that case? And I feel like that to me, it kind of seems like if you've had a whole bunch of past lives, like if you have an awareness of them, like I feel like everybody's had a bunches and bunches and bunches. Like the same thing as like how many dreams have you had while you've been alive? Like it's that. That's how many fucking lives I think it's more like. And so when you a lot of different ones and you learn from them, then it gives you a perception of not judgment. And that is like what I said is like why you move up in vibration is to because you go through the experience, it takes away judgment. And you go through all the different things and then you see like people can be pushed into doing anything. And they can push you into being a criminal. People can be pushed into killing somebody. When somebody's trying to hurt you, there's a lot of different things. What gets me always is there where people do it just out of other kind of reasons, like greed, spite, and stuff. So, anyways, the jealousy. But anyways, uh, to me, it's like when you can kind of acknowledge like different experiences, different things, like how I talk about like all these different experiences that we have going around us, everywhere around us, or all these different soul groups playing out these different things. And so then a lot of people can get all hung up on this soul group, like, oh, can you believe that? Can you believe this? But to me, it is like, I feel like we've all done these things. So I don't feel judgmental towards them like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't know. I know I have a judgmental side of me, but I feel like it's different than this other part. I don't know, I'm overly explaining it. To me, it's like, it depends on when somebody's listening to you. Somebody can listen to you and go, God, I think they're totally judgmental. And then somebody else can listen to you and go, I don't ever hear them judgmental. So it's all different. It's all in the receiver. And we can't get all hung up on you can't please every receiver. It's impossible. And every receiver has their own virtual reality, their own perception. And so it's not like that you could please them. You would drive yourself crazy trying to please everybody's different needs or attitudes or whatever. You would go crazy. But when I look at the thing, there's so many times when I'll just hear people saying such mean things about somebody. And I just always think like, I mean, I think that a lot of us have been in these situations in other lives, even if we're not in this situation right now. And when we don't feel like, when we see something like that, we don't feel the same way. We don't feel like, God, what an idiot. We just feel kind of more compassion or empathy. I think it's because we've had experience with it, that we've learned from it. And so we've gone through that chapter in our learning. And so we don't feel the same kind of thing as somebody else about it. And it may be that they don't remember, maybe they haven't finished that lesson packet, maybe they're still in it, and this is a part of it, is their hyper alertness to certain things or certain things about certain people or whatever. It's all, everything is just so much different than what people think, because people think of it in such a 3D way. And to me, I look at it in a more spiritual way. So what your spirit is doing rather than the 3D. And so, like the guy, I talked about him a while back. Um, his, oh yeah, I wanted to say this too. Okay, let me think. Because I had this epiphany yesterday with the shipping containers. Um, and I think I drove past, oh, that's what it was. I drove past a house and it was like they had a shipping container. And it was, I don't know, delivered or something. And I thought, huh, I wonder if they're going to put in like a little house back there. If they're going to make like a little guest house or something and they're going to do it out of the shipping container. Or I wonder if they're packing it up to move or something. So anyways, I was thinking about this person's shipping container. And then I was thinking, huh, that's weird. Because all of the stuff that goes on about those things, not only do they take those people, but there's a whole thing about the RED in the room. And I've talked about enough. If you're new, you may not know what that is, but it has also been shown in movies. And the movie, there's a trilogy. There's 3 of them. And it starts with an H, and it has OSTEL. And there's that 1, 2, and 3. And you go watch that. What that goes on in that, especially the first one. I don't remember. Well, the third one, it shows that a lot, and it's in Vegas. And and right now we do have all those kids at that hostel that just got poisoned. So, because that's what, it's very unsafe to be young and traveling out, because that shows that in this movie too. And because it's easy to go missing. It's easy because it's hard to find people when they're in other countries and stuff. It's hard to find people when they're in other states. So when people go travel and they go missing in other countries, it's, just like this guy who, whose daughter just went missing. Then he went to the airport, and I don't know what happened, if he really did jump off. But, yeah, the people go missing in other places. It's really hard to find them. And this guy was distraught. I don't know. He was only here for a couple days, I thought. Maybe one day. I don't know. The whole thing is strange. But, and it could be to just try and get our attention on it. I always hope when I hear all these tragic things, oh, hopefully it's just made up. So it gets our attention on it. But then I was thinking, it's kind of weird though, because they use those for that situation that I was just talking about, that they do in that movie, and they call it in that color is RED, and then it's a room. And then when you go into those, then they use the Bitcoin. This is why I said Bitcoin, I think, is going down, is because then you can purchase what you want to happen to said person who's in said room with camera overhead watching, so everybody can watch. It's very dark, and it's live action, and it's real time, and people pay to play, and the play is torture, horrible stuff. Just watch the movie. And anyway, so they use those containers for that too. And I was thinking, it really is kind of weird how they started having all of a sudden everybody's buying shipping containers. And I started thinking, I bet you that they were selling them to hide evidence. Because how many people, like, yeah, I just put walls on over them, like, fuck. If you went in under and you swabbed them, I bet you that they're, or you went in and illuminated them with that luminary stuff, where you spray that stuff and then you bring that light in and it shows all the splatter. I bet you. I don't know. But that just really came to my mind when I saw that one. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense, man. That they would, yeah, because why would they keep them all? There was something else that I had seen where it was something that they were selling the evidence, like it was something that they did. So it was like, sell us this stuff. I think diamonds, that is one thing. Oh yeah, the leather. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things in our stuff that is evidence. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's very creepy. God, this place is so creepy. God, really creeps me out. Oh, and I went to the food bank yesterday, which was, you know what I really do love to go up there when is it's like so community. There's so many people up there and everybody's up there talking and it's very community. And the little Russian lady who's in there up here is a lot of Russian people and I just love them, especially because I think I have this part of me. I'm not sure what the deal is because I've been told Russian, then Ukrainian, so I'm not sure what, but I know that there's been problems up there, but I know that there's my grandpa that came from Eastern Europe. So, and he looks like them. And so anyways, I really always liked them. And so she asked me if I wanted milk, and I said, "Ah, man, I've got milk. I need to make some cheese." And she got just lit up. And so then I was like, "Oh, tell me the old ways," because you know she would be doing it like the old Russian ways or whatever. So she said, "Just take the milk, heat it up, just warm it, then put in the vinegar, like a teaspoon and a half to a gallon or something, and then put in the vinegar, then it just rises to the top. Just gather all that stuff." And she said you can even put it in the freezer or you can take it and use it, but you need to use it or freeze it. And she said that they had just made, one of her friends had just made crepes and used that cheese, and she said it was so good. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I do have some berries. Make some crepes and then put that cheese over it. But anyway, so I'm going to make that cheese once I get the kitchen organized because I have my whole menu. I'm so excited about this menu. I'm cooking for my dogs. But it's fun. And that's why it's like, see, this is to me like the choice because I know there's people in the same position as me and they're sad about it. They're sad and they're lonely and they feel rejected from society or whatever. But those are all your processes you have to go through. I can't say that I haven't ever felt that. But um but I enjoy, like, it's fun. Like, the dogs become like they are my friends, and they are characters, and they are entertaining, and Stella's my best friend. I mean, and so many times when the little ones are going crazy, and she'll just come over and stand by me like, I just can't take it. She's so cute. God, I don't ever want to lose that girl. I love her so much. She is such a character. God, I love her. And these two, oh my God, they are, oh my gosh. Archie is something else. God. And he'll get up on 2 feet and he goes running up and he just goes like pound town on the back of Max, like, "Oh, I'm your mom, I'm the master." And it's just like he's so um he's always playing these games, like these face chew games, this tug of war. Like he's the smallest, and he's always playing the games, the most aggressive. Like, I win, I'm the toughest. It's just so funny because he's always trying to be the toughest. And when they're running down the driveway, he's got to run faster. He'll tack Max. It's like, they're funny. And quite the little characters. And they're so cute. They're always up laying next to each other and stuff. They're really cute. I feel like I got this really good little pack going. So anyways, we're going to cook them this big fancy dinner. They've been enjoying the turkey because I already had made that. And then I've got the big thing of bones, so I'm going to make a big soup with that. But so I got the stuff for stuffing. For the green beans, I'm going to make that cabbage stuff. I'm going to make, I got real whipped cream because I was thinking about making that fluff stuff. And then I was like, Cool Whip, man, that is like, oh, I'm already going to be eating mushroom soup. That's going to have fucking toxins. Like, fuck, man. I don't know if I could do Cool Whip too. And then whipping cream came into my head. I was like, oh yeah, whipping cream. Okay, so I got whipping cream. But Jello's got all the toxins. So, and I've got pineapple and cottage cheese. So I'm going to make that whip stuff. And then I've got mashed potatoes and gravy. And I may use packaged gravy, but that's all those chemicals too. It's like, fuck, man. They really get you on the chemicals. It's like, how much pain do I want to suffer from this shit? And so what is the thing? I got green bean stuffing, cranberry, uh, the yams, and mashed potatoes and gravy and stuff, whatever. All those just like regular things, but it's so fun because the dogs get so excited. They get so thrilled about all the stuff. And so anyways, and then I don't know, it's like it's in our programming or something. It gets to this time of the year, and it's like you just start craving that kind of food. It's like we were raised on it. Just start craving it when it comes that time of the year. But so let me think, because there was some other things that I was gonna say. So the food, the going up the thing, and I do like that part of community when everybody's up there. I like this social part of community. That's what gets me on the fucking getting kicked off the next door thing. And the thing was too, is so when I very first went on next door, I don't remember, I probably didn't say too much of anything. Then when it was when shit started going down, and there was a woman named, I think her name is Mary Ann. I haven't seen her in a while. She's the one that I went to the class, who's the shaman lady, and I went to her class and learned about the chakras and stuff. That's where I started really understanding about, like, oh, that's why I was like, people are not NPCs. They're in lower chakra. They haven't healed. So you're on autopilot. And so they're just holding all their pain and suffering in, which a lot of people even use food to stuff it and keep it hidden in. Some people use alcohol, those different things to keep their pain down in their root, in their sacral, so that they don't have to deal with it. And that is when people just become reactive because they're just holding on to too much pain. They don't have time to think and, think about somebody else and what they're going through or anything like that. It's just reactive. So that hurt my feelings, that hurt my feelings, and I've been there. Like, I lived my life in that part. I just had a brain injury and had time to start healing, and not going to work and stuff gives you time to focus on yourself and what it is that you need. And you change, you develop, you grow. And so, or you can, not everybody just does. Some people fight it. And it, to me, seems like as much as the thing that holds you back is blaming other people for what's wrong with you, making it other people's problem, other people's fault, being mad at other people for how you feel is where you are like stuck in victim mentality. And that is where you can let go of that and move yourself more into taking responsibility, because then it is like I'm taking responsibility for my day, I'm taking responsibility for my time, taking responsibility for how I look at my kitchen counters, and the what things that to me it's like finding your joy. So, like, I'm sure that there's some women who, their daughter's not talking to them. Now this daughter's not talking to them. They're not getting to see their grandkids ever. They're missing out on this and that, and that they're feeling very sorry for themselves and feeling very rejected, and that, like, nobody cares about them. But I don't know. All I can say now is that it's like a choice, even though it's kind of harsh to say, but it is. It's like a choice of how you look at things, because it's kind of like life has, you're always where you're supposed to be, and things are always the way they're supposed to be. So you can't change things into the way you want them to be, even though they, this new spirituality tries to tell you it's that simple. But no, it's not. That's not how it works. It's changing your attitude. It's changing how you look at it. Just like with the kitchen counters, instead of being all tore up, like, oh man, I want it to be perfect. It had to be, and being like, oh man, and now, I could go down on myself and be like, oh, I can't believe it. You should have known it would turn yellow. You should have known it would do bubbles. You should have known this. You should have known that, or whatever. And, or you could have done better or whatever, just beat yourself up over it. Just down on yourself, beating yourself down, down, down. And, that's a choice. Or you can look at it as like, you're learning things, and the next thing you'll do will even be better. Each thing that you do is getting better, and you're learning as you go. And be proud of yourself for making effort and trying new things and doing things and being willing to fail. So it's all in how you look at yourself. And so even on the thing, like my daughter not talking to me, well, two of them now. But to me, it's also, like if they're that mad at me, I don't really want to talk either. Like I don't want to sit there and argue and fight. Like I don't want that in my life. So if you're that mad at me that you don't talk to me, then don't talk to me. It's fine. And and then I know like the universe will make things work out the way they're supposed to work out. Like everything is gonna work out. I'm not mad. I mean, I was mad on the day that I was mad. I was mad. And I was mad for a good reason. And if they want to think like I never have any right to say anything what I think about something, but that is kind of where I realized like this is something that they were programmed by, and this was, my choice of being married to somebody who didn't really respect me, and how they would talk about me or talk down to me, and then how it would be that my kids would, eventually grow up and think that everything I say is just weird or crazy or doesn't make any sense or it's all in my head or whatever. It's like, so, whatever's meant to be is meant to be. If they're meant to understand me, then they're meant to understand me. If the universe has a different plan, and then there's a different plan. It's like, you just gotta go with the flow. You can't be all like, I don't know. I know a lot of people get super rejected, especially it's gonna be the holidays. Like tomorrow is gonna be a hard day for a lot of people because they're gonna feel so alone. But there's nothing wrong with being alone. There's nothing like they've made it in our society of like that. And I know there's loneliness because loneliness creates desperation, and desperation creates promiscuity and the lack of connection. And so that is a need, a drive. And it is kind of, to me, is like a challenge also. When you are alone, how do you find your peace? How do you find your joy? How do you find your happiness? How do you find a sense of self? And another thing too is for a lot of people, I know for me who lived off of drama and stuff, when you don't have anybody to be around, then there's like this energy thing that is lacking. Like where's the drama? How do you how do you get the day going or something, And so sometimes you need to be alone to notice your own behaviors. So instead of sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, think about yourself. Think about what are the things about you. What are your feelings? Not, I mean, if you are just really stuck on feeling lonely and sad and rejected, then you got to process through it. You can't just sit there for weeks, months, or whatever, feeling the same feelings and just leaving them like that. You got to process through them. Otherwise, you're creating a stagnation, which creates disease. And you'll end up having some kind of cancer, probably in a lower chakra area. So probably more intestinal, like colon cancer. If you are super anxiety, you could end up having stomach cancer. Like you could have liver, any of that kind of stuff is where you're going to end up getting it if you're not processing things and letting things go and moving through things. And so it's important to go deeper into your feelings. Don't just get stuck in the, oh, poor me, everybody hates me, I'm no good, nobody likes me, I'm never good enough. And, and then I think a lot of times you'll start having things play out. Like, your mom said this when you were 2, or your dad did the, all these things. And some people, I think they try and hide from that. They don't want to experience that, but that's what you need to experience. That's what you need to play back through. You need to play it out. It's like play through and get through it and look at it from an adult perspective. Especially look at it from an adult perspective of like, these people got problems. How was I expecting these people who have problems to be the perfect parent for me? The besides, yeah, I mean, how could anybody be the perfect parent for anybody? And so but when you go back through it, that will help you release the things that you're holding on to, and it will help you move towards your forgiveness. so that you can start seeing as like, gosh, dang, my parents were broken too. God, my parents were suffering. My parents didn't know what the fuck to do either. My parents had a hard time too. And then you start feeling like more compassionate towards them, more like, God, we're all struggling. They didn't know what to do. It wasn't like they were trying to fail me. It was like we just fail each other because we're trying to help ourselves and we don't know how because this world is a distortion. And so through the facing these things. So if you're in isolation, don't be, don't get in the 3D part of it. Get in the spiritual part of it. What are your guides asking from you? Talk out loud to them. Nobody's listening. Talk out loud to them and start asking them, what is it you want from me? What is it I'm supposed to be seeing? What am I supposed to be looking at? How do I move through this? How do I get through this? How do I move out of this pain and move into a time where I feel more contentment? And they'll help you, especially when you are put into isolation and you're cut off from a lot of people. There's specific things they want you to work on, and you need to be alone in order to do it. And so don't and especially if you've got real raw feelings about people rejecting you, not be included in the Thanksgiving festivities, you don't believe like how everybody else believes, you think different, you act different, you say different. I guess Reddit is blowing up too with all of this Thanksgiving rules because now, it's a very intense time. I mean, we just had all these people shaving their heads saying that they were cutting people off and they weren't even going to, never talk to grandma again, and that they were cutting all these people out for the holidays. There's been all of this snipping by all these different people who don't want to deal with this stuff. And so when you do that, let's just say, when these people who are blue and they think the rest of their family is a bunch of wacko Christians who are trying to control the world and try and make people not have abortions or whatever the fuck it is. And so they are all caught up in their mad and their anger and they're going in this direction. And then all of a sudden they're sitting there by themselves on this day and they're feeling like totally rejected, totally pissed off at their family. If their family would just have fucking common sense and just care about other people's reproductive rights or whatever the hell is, then we could live in a peaceful world. And so that person who's sitting there feeling like that is where they need to start focusing on how they're feeling. Why do they feel like everybody needs to be there for them? Where is this feeling coming from? Where is this anger where you want to cut everybody off who doesn't think like you? Who if somebody instead of seeing it as like not as a challenge, because we're not here to challenge each other and make each other change and make each other think different, but why you can't have an acceptance for people who think different than you and look at things different than you. And I'm not surprised that it would be this intense of a thing as it's going out, because to me, this is all the ending of this governing system. So I'm not surprised that it's going to go out with a big shebang like this. But that is where these people, that are in isolation over their anger and stuff, they need to turn it and start looking more towards the where the things are coming from, because they're probably coming from some really deep past lives. And some of this stuff with the reproductive things, there's been big things that have happened in past lives on some of that stuff. I saw one, like a QHHT or something, and this woman was talking about, I think in this life, she she would get pregnant, but she kept losing the baby. And she got getting pregnant, losing the baby, or something like that. And then when she went back to her past life, there was something that was, I don't remember if, now I'm getting too many confused, if she gave away her kids, if her husband died, she gave away her kids, and she was poor, and she didn't have any money. And so it's like you have to go back and heal this life to not have the effects of it in this life. And so many people don't realize that the things that they're dealing with here is from troubles you had back here that you had. And then you have to go for the full circle. So whatever was here, you didn't play all the roles here. You didn't get the full perspective of the experience. You only played one role. And it was a role for other people to experience too. But everybody has different roles for the experience. So you have to go in and play different roles too. It's because you get more of the understanding of how things happen and why things happen and how people become, how people are motivated to be certain ways and stuff, what it drives people. And so it's you don't just go in and have one thing, one experience. Like you have multiple experiences. It all goes together. And that's why, you can't get caught up in what other people are doing in their roles and stuff, because their roles go with their whole experience. And we all play all these different roles. It's not like, oh, well, that soul gets the best roles. No, we all play all different roles. And, we are all the star of our own show. So but whatever your lessons are and stuff can hold you. So you need to be focusing on those. And that's where I say people are not focused. They're focused on the 3D stuff instead of the spiritual stuff. The spiritual stuff is what's holding you back. The 3D stuff is what's pissing you off and scaring you. The spiritual stuff is what's holding you back and holding you stagnant because you're not going at life in the right direction. You're trying to do it through the 3D, which it's always going to fail you. And so there's a part where you go through it spiritually, and then, life makes sense. You grow, you heal, you have fun, you meet people, you develop yourself, all sorts of things. So the, so that was what I would say the biggest thing is for anybody who is having isolation. And, if you need to cry it out, you need to spend the day crying, then cry it out. Feel sorry for yourself. But then stop at some point and then start going at it. Like, okay, so why do I feel so bad? What feels bad? Why am I feeling like this? How do I, go into you to understand you? Not just like sit there all day long fuming at that motherfucker and that son of a bitch. I hate that fucker. That is a waste of your time. That's a waste of your energy. You're not doing shit. You're holding yourself back. And so that is where you got to put down that shit. And you got to go deeper into yourself, because there's a reason why you're being held back. There's a reason why things are the way they are. And you are the common denominator. You are the one that's changing them. You're the domino who's going to make it fall the way you want it to fall. But you got to start redirecting yourself, because you're just spending all your energy just being pissed off and angry at everybody else and not figuring out what it is that's driving your anger, what it is that's making you feel this pain inside. And so when you can go through that and you can release that pain, then it starts feeling good. And it always, I'm telling you, there is a release with your own pain comes with a forgiveness. Like you just, whatever this person is that you've been just so pissed off, hanging on, holding on, is then all of a sudden it's like there's nothing to hold on to. And then all of a sudden, you start having you may even get to start being like, oh my God, I can't believe what a dick I was. Fuck, I said a lot of shitty things. Man, I wish I didn't say that. Fuck, I shouldn't have said that. That is where you can go in and like humble yourself, and just be like, I'm sorry that I had my own overreaction. I've got my own shit I'm trying to figure out. I'm really trying to face myself, and I shouldn't, I don't want to be that kind of person that is overreactive and quick to call names and quick to anger and quick to be mean and stuff like that. So unless you are, and you look at it as like, yeah, well, I was protecting myself and that's good. That's okay too. The universe wants all things, all perspectives. So if you look at it as like, yeah, if somebody's gonna push me, I'm gonna stand up for myself and I'm gonna say whatever it takes, then more power to you. We have all different perspectives. We have all different ways of different approaches. You just have to get out of the one of the victim, of like the poor me, because it does just hold you back. There's no sense to it. But it does, as you go through it, it will help you to release, and forgiveness feels way better. Forgiveness feels way better, because how do you hold on to all this resentment and anger? That's a lot of stuff to hold on to. And I think that's another reason why a lot of people gain weight is because they need that weight to hold on to their anger and their resentment. And that is why when they start healing their anger and their resentment, the weight just starts falling off. It's like, it doesn't need to be here anymore. I'm doing good. I don't need to protect myself. I can stand up for myself now. Now I know how to just say, hey, I'm because as somebody who had horrible boundaries, I know that there is a thing of like you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to make them feel bad. Oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. How hurt feelings feel so horrible. I don't want to make them feel bad. Well, they're just stomping on you, So the but there's always this compassion. It's that, well, they do have a lot of problems, It's like there's an arrogance to that, seriously. But there is, a point where you're like, no, just go away. I don't need to deal with if you got a bad attitude, I don't need it. So whatever. And, having your boundaries, whatever your boundaries are. I say you shouldn't be just cutting people out of your life. Like that person's gone, because the people who are in your life, because I just saw another person say this. I've seen so many people say this, that they were saying something about the blood is thicker than water, and they were saying the whole, there's more to it than just that little part. And I can't remember what they said, blood is thicker than water, but they said what it comes down to is that the people that you choose as your family are more better than the people who, are birthed in your family, which, again, spiritually, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you are not going to be birthed with people who are not there for your best. Like, they're there to teach you. It may not come in the lesson and come in the direction that you think it is, but in your soul world, when you get over there, you're going to be like, fuck yeah, that was a good lesson, man. And so you can get caught up in your three-dimensional emotions and anger and stuff, but that's not going to do much for you. It's going to just hold you back. So but that is such a consistent thing in our society, is just cut people out, cut people out. So many. It's like a whole group of, I don't know, it seems like 30 to 40, maybe 45-year-olds cutting out their parents. And that is definitely out of extreme kind of arrogance and ignorance. It's like you failed, and they don't think about their own failings. It's like they haven't seen their own failings yet, but they're sure these people failed. And so that is, that I can see that the person who is cutting the people out has got some issues they need to work on. And the universe is giving this person time in isolation to work on their problems. Because everybody's got problems. But, it's just that there's a group of people that go around thinking everybody else has got a problem, not them. It's like, that's going to hold you back. Only surrounding yourself with people that agree with you, that's going to hold you back. To never be challenged by anything, that's going to hold you back. To not ever have boundaries, that's going to hold you back. To stay in bitterness, anger, divisive, that's going to hold you back. All these things are not positive things, and they've been marketed as positive. There's so many people who think that's so positive to cut people out of your life. And like I said, I think that there's people, like I think I believed it, that getting divorced was the healing. I was saying like, oh, you're no good for me, and I'm going to get divorced from you, and thinking like you've done a good thing for yourself. And then you find yourself in another shit-ass relationship. And it's like, ugh, what the fuck, man? And then you go through the whole thing of like, how am I just the worst at choosing? Like, what's going on? And, it took me quite a few to get to the point of stopping what I was doing and actually focusing on me. And it took a lot of, being kicked in the fucking, it took a lot for me to get to the point of focusing on me. And, and that's my life journey. I'm not going to sit there and be hard on myself or mad at myself. I can look at it now as like it's a story. It's a full story. I mean, we all have our story. We all have our own fucking movie being made. And so, I guess it depends on what kind of movie you want, like what your expectation is. What are you hoping for? Because what I see, is a girl that, I don't know, kind of like, she had hopes and dreams that got stomped on, and then she got lost, and then she had to find herself. And then once she found herself, she remembered what her hopes and dreams were, and she started going after them again. And then it's like a whole story. We haven't even gotten to the end yet. We haven't gotten to the other side of the rainbow. And so, we're still moving towards it, but don't get caught up in like your story is broken, your story is no good. There can be a lot of bad things that happen to you in your story, but what did you do when the bad things happen? And even if you made bad choices, even if you became part of badness, or you became cruel and wicked and angry and bitter, then that's for you to get to see. It's a part of your story. It's not where you have to stay. You don't have to stay there. Just because you went through it doesn't mean you're stuck there. The only way you get stuck there is leaving yourself there. You just keep on working on yourself. Keep on working on letting go of things, letting go of your pain and suffering. And I swear to God, I think it's quite clear that this world is, I'm still really stuck on it. This little period of time that we've been dealing with is about 100 years. I don't think that that we're very attached to a lot back. I think that there's like a big manipulation, because this thing about this fires and all this destruction of the creation of the America, and how much is hidden. Like there's a whole fucking bunch of shit hidden in the Grand Canyon. And I knew there was some fucking bullshit why they weren't letting us go in it and stuff, because they've got all this stuff hidden, in which I still think that it's a portal. I still bet you that these people who are like walking from India and ending up in Mexico or at the border over here, I bet you that they are going through some kind of portal thing through some of these mountains. And I bet you that some of them, they go through one way over here and they come out in the Grand Canyon, and they keep walking. They have no idea. They just keep walking and walking and walking. And maybe they're not at a park, but who knows what the canyons and stuff look like when you're just walking that distance from wherever it is that they are coming from, Pakistan or wherever, where all these people say they were walking, which to me is still, even if some people think that's ridiculous, there's no way they could do that. Well, I think that the maps a lie, and I don't think it's that ridiculous, because where would they be getting the money for all these big airlines things? We're supposedly the planet, or the country that's the most got the most of everything. We're the ones out traveling, going places all over the place. I don't know how many people from some of these countries just go on vacation just for fun. And then I know some countries do. I'm not saying that we're the only ones who do. I know some do. But I know that there's some places that they're poor and that they don't. And some places they live in places that are really cool anyways. And that, so when they start coming over here and we can't afford to just be flying and going over there, I don't know. To me, it's like, I don't think that they're going and flying and coming over here. I think there's some that are going on flights. I think there's some that are probably, they're pulling up at the prison systems and unloading them and taking them to the airport and flying them over and giving them assignments. Like, that's how bad I think it is. And but not all of them. Like some of these peasants or whatever, just like the peasants from a long time ago took off on boats trying to get the fuck out of there. Maybe they even walked. Who knows? Who fucking knows, really? You know, that is something that they tried to say a long time ago too, because they've said before that the landscape has changed. It's been changing the whole time as humans have been changing, and that there was a lot of times where everything was walking, where they walked, and that they say that that's how these tribes moved over here, moved over there, and stuff like that, was all of this walking. And they try and put it together with the DNA and the Homo sapiens sapien or whatever. And then and that's where they started saying about the equator and how some people started looking different because it depends on how close you are to the equator, what color your skin is and stuff. Bullshit. All their stuff is bullshit. And so, anyways, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if some of them was walking because I mean, when I heard those guys that day when that guy was interviewing them, saying where'd they come from, how'd they get there, and he kept on trying to get him like, but what airport, and they kept on being like, what, we walked. And he kept saying, but from what airport? And he was like, we walked from home. Like, and it was like, I just know it, the maps and stuff. Like, there's so much, and then plus I know that there's like portals in the forests and in the mountains and stuff. Like, you go in one place and you come out another place, and they may have like a mapped out route. It's like, but that doesn't mean that they aren't going through portals. Just like in the Barbie movie. Like the Barbie movie showed how that was. Like she was going to travel to the real world from Barbie world, and she had to go through all these different worlds. And in different worlds, like some she had to ride a bike, no, a boat. Some I mean, she maybe did have to ride a bike. It was like all these different things, and each world had its own way of looking. And so it was like going through different portals of time to get to that one. And that is what really it is like. Like that showed real things too in that movie. And then so then after the Jeff Fahey movie, and I couldn't even believe all the stuff. The hologram people, the switching the consciousness, the cloning people and taking them and then taking their bodies and putting other people into them and stuff. And then so right after that, Outer Limits started. Outer Limits was on when I was a kid. It was Twilight Zone and Outer Limits. And there's One Step Beyond. That's on YouTube too. And that is, I think that was like later. Twilight Zone was really popular. So then they went with, I think they tried to make the Outer Limits. The Outer Limits was, Twilight Zone was a lot, I don't know. Twilight Zone was really, really good. Outer Limits was good, but it was not to the same depth as Twilight Zone to me. And so on this Outer Limits, though, and it was weird because it had Robert Duvall as a young guy in it. So I was like, oh, that's so weird to see somebody so young in this. But so he is, and I again wasn't paying that close of attention, but what the premise was on this one, which so they're kids in orphanages, they're kind of rejected, and so these people from space come and take them back to their planet, because in their planet then they can live, you know, and be happy and appreciated and stuff. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to, like, if somebody can't hear or speak, it doesn't matter when you have telepathy. So they're going to take them back to their planet. And so Robert Duvall is this cop who's trying to, I don't know, something with this boy and the lieutenant. He's trying to find this lieutenant. And the lieutenant is really from another planet. And so he comes. And so there's this whole conversation at the end because they're going to take all these boys to these other planets. And they're trying to stop them. The cops here, our official people are trying to stop them and saying that that's not right and stuff. And so they're talking about realities and different things in that one where I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Because for sure they are taking people and they do take them for food. And but in this, they were taking them for a better life, but there is better lives out there. And he was saying, like, there's all sorts of different lives in different places out there. This is not the only place. And so there was all that in that. And I don't remember if I even saw that one as a kid. The one movie where I was watching with Roddy McDowall, I kept thinking, I bet you I saw this as a kid, but I don't know if I did or not. But it was similar. Like, I remembered the purple suit. But Arnold, the dead guy who keeps being everywhere, and it's good. Like, if somebody wants to see it, because this Arnold guy keeps speaking from the grave, and they have his body sitting there, and then you put it's really good. Some of the stuff is like, where do they come up with this stuff? But anyways, but after that, there was like, man, disclosure, the stuff like that was from the like 60s or something. And that was right in our stuff. And I don't know. It's just so crazy how all this stuff was being disclosed to us all the time. And people always just thought, oh, it's a movie. It's a movie. It's a show. And there was so many times where I was constantly saying, no, this is real. This is real. This is real. and people wouldn't listen. People just would think you're crazy. And I don't know, that just trips me out. It trips me out. It's like you're talking about real life and that people think it's not real when it is real. So yeah, I'm really excited for this awakening. I'm excited for people to start being in the real world of what's real and what's not real, to have an awareness of what's real and what's not real, because everybody's so stuck on what's not real and trying to live and that by that. Oh yeah, and there's some bullshit too with bullshit with the North Carolina thing too, or whatever down there where all the people are freezing to death and dying and whatever, and all their stuff is gone and it's fucking hell. That now the FEMA is going to deliver them mobile homes. Well, they should have done that right in the motherfucking beginning. Goddamn kidding me. And there was one where these Amish people went and built, a whole group of Amish went there and started building little cabins for the people, like little tiny homes. Now, one guy got one on his, and the county came in and said, you can't live in it. It's not up to code. You can't live in it. And the person who's showing the video is saying, oh, so he has to live in the dirt. He can't live in this shelter. He has to live in the dirt. Like, this is the fucking absurdity of letting these people govern us. It's fucking ridiculous. And so they're saying they're bringing all these mobile homes there for these people, and they're just going to start putting them on their property. But then you go in the comments, it's like, oh, well, that's so crazy because they seem to not be able to get them here. Every single one that they even say they're bringing that never shows up. There's always these problems and stuff. So it's, I don't know, more of a show or something. These people are totally just on their own, which to me, I still say there's got to be a mass exodus. I still say there's another storm coming just around the corner. There's always another storm coming until the map changes. And I don't know when it's going to change. I don't know how long that we have to go through this, how slow it's going to go or whatever. I still think that it's going to be whatever goes down. It seems like there's this clash. It's definitely with the politics and government, some kind of clash. And then it switches. Like whatever happens and then it switches. That's what it keeps seeming like to me. And so there's got to be something coming. Something coming. And then we'll start going more into, you know, a better way. Whatever, you know, the plan is. I don't know what the plan is. Because whatever they're doing it for billions of people. They can't just be like, oh, well, you know, Kelly thinks that we should do it this way. It's like got this quantum computer that's making the decisions. And who knows whose consciousness is running that motherfucker? Like, is that somebody, like they stole some consciousness back in the 20s or 30s and they've had it there and it's been more establishing itself as a mind and it's becoming over us. No wonder there is this thing now where they're saying that the AI is going to go against man because they've been motherfucking stealing the people and putting them in there. And the people don't want to be in there. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's going to be, maybe we're going to, there's no telling. There's no telling. To me, it's just going to keep getting more fantastic, more far out, more crazy. Things are just going to get more and more wild. It's kind of like the opening to help people to go, you know, like to prepare them for the wild world that we're going into. So however it keeps playing out, you just got to keep rolling with the punches, just going with the flow. However it goes, it's going to go. We don't have much choice over it. Now I've been talking 142, so I'm going to wrap things up. It seemed like there was another thing I wanted to say, but anyways, any of these shows that I say, if somebody wants a link or something, like if I say something, it's like, oh, I'm kind of interested in seeing that, then just tell me, because they're on YouTube. I can just link them, give you a link to see it. So anyways, I think that's all. Just gotta go with the day. And it's so crazy too, because they could totally disrupt tomorrow. Tomorrow could be like, you know, well, everybody's gonna be at home, everybody's gonna be with their families. It's a perfect day to do some shit. And so some shit could go down. Some shit could go down tonight, like while everybody's driving to places and stuff. Like anything could go at any time. No, to me, we just all got to be prepared, and it's going to be hard because there's going to be a lot of people who aren't prepared. But you got to remember, because that's part of their story. It's part of their learning. It's part of whatever it is that they're here to experience. So, but there's some of us that are here to experience it in a different way. So just, keep going with the flow. Just keep keeping yourself sane. And I do it, you know, like with that, let go, let God, let go, let God, just let go of shit. And then when the creepy fucking creepers, oh God, my leg is stiff. When the creepy fucking creepers, the dark energy keeps trying to talk shit, just keep telling it to fuck off. Like, I swear to God, they just are so negative and so dark. And they did get me the other day with a sawed in my finger. And then the other day I got stabbed too with the thing. So there is some wounds that are happening that can do things. Flip a saw back and smack you with it and shit. So anyways, just take your time doing things. Don't get too caught up. Know what you're dealing with. We're dealing with a lot of dark energy, and it's very hostile. It really wants to live. It really wants to live off of us. And you know, a lot of people, you know, are just going through stuff, going through crisis. But if you are, you know, one of the people that's trying to figure shit out, just remember what you're doing here. Learning how to love yourself, love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because it's totally up to you. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.